So how's your day going?
Well, I woke up and then it... Oh, this is the annoying thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last night I got that thing saying computer needs to update. Do you
And you
want to
didn't.
restart now? No, and I said, okay, yeah, download update now.
Okay.
So I just left it on, downloaded the update, and I went to sleep. So then I woke up and turned the computer on. I was like, good news, the update has finished downloading. Now we have to install it.
Oh.
1%. Alright, leave the room, come back, make breakfast, come back in. 1%. Oh.
No.
Go to the shop, come back again. 3%. Oh dear. So...
Sin is not gonna be happy about this.
No, and I was... Oh no. So then I, like, hijacked my parents' computer and was like, can I just send a tweet?
Aww. You
So
don't
I-
have
yeah.
internet on your phone?
I do, but I don't have a browser.
What? Are you using a BlackBerry from 75 years ago?
No, I'm using a hand-me-down iPhone that's, like, ancient.
Aww. You poor child.
And, like, I have a 7-year-old iPad that it no longer updates. And it has
Oh, no.
a web browser, but the web browser will not, it will only load some pages. If it's anything that's more complex than just, like, text on a screen, it crashes.
This is a horrible way to live, Richard.
Well, I don't really care because I don't use it very often. I just use it to read books on the train.
Okay. Okay.
Because no one can see what I'm reading because it doesn't have a cover.
Does it matter?
So I can read Courted by the Wolf Lawyer.
Oh my god! Oh, Richard. Okay, so let me ask you some questions about the podcast that you missed.
Okay.
It's 11:20. Okay, so Nick is asking, what is the Abyss?
The Abyss looks like it is... It's a good question. It's described as spreading from humanity. Didn't I send you, like, months ago, a gigantic document that has all the stuff about the Abyss in it?
Yes.
Do you still have that, or have you lost it and it's just like, I'll just ask Richard when he's on?
I'll just ask Richard when it's on because I couldn't find it.
Yeah, that's fair. The Abyss is described as, like, it spreads out if you have too much humanity in one place, kind of. Because it talks about Manus, like, the Abyss spread out from Manus. Like, he's sort of the center of it, and it's spreading from him. So, like... But I think it always existed because it says in 3 that the early weapons that humans used were forged in the Abyss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's always existed, but it seems like if you have enough humanity in one place, like, the Abyss just starts sort of spreading from there.
So where is the Abyss?
It's wherever you have too much humanity, I guess. Like, it might be that area you see in the very opening with all the hollows around the flame.
Oh, interesting. Because you know how when you fight the 4 kings, you fall into the Abyss if you don't have the
Yeah, that's
ring?
the Abyss. Yeah, there's the Abyss under New Londo.
So...
What?
I don't know.
Like, Manus gets too much humanity, right?
Yeah.
He becomes the sort of epicenter of the Abyss.
Oh,
Ulysses will
okay.
dig him up.
Wait, no. What I'm okay. Is a hole the Abyss? Like a hole in the ground? Is that the Abyss?
What, any hole or just
Like
the...
just the 4 king hole? Is that the Abyss?
Well, I don't know if there's, like, I don't know. I guess the Abyss is, like, if they're, like, a hole opened up or something, and then, like... The problem is that Dark Souls 3 exists. Which is the cause of many problems.
No,
But, like...
no. Well, even if you ignore Dark Souls 3, like, in Dark Souls 1, like the abyss spreads, but also the abyss is a whole. And also Manus is the lord of the abyss.
Is the abyss the hole, or is the hole leading to the
A
abyss?
bigger hole? Okay, well if the hole is leading to the abyss, then it's leading to a bigger hole that's also the abyss?
I don't know. Right, okay, let's be rational about this.
Yeah, let's be rational about this.
Let's be rational about this. There's like there's the abyss in New Londo.
Yeah.
Right. There's the abyss in Ulasil.
Yeah.
And is that it for Dark Souls 1? I think it might be. Yeah. So what happens is like the abyss in Ulasil, it's caused because the Ulasil people dig up Manus.
So it's the hole where they dig him up from the abyss?
It's called the Chasm of the Abyss. Right.
So he was buried in the Chasm of the Abyss?
I think he was. Right, they dig up Manus, right?
Okay.
Okay. Karth, we assume Karth, it might have been Frampt, it might have been one of the other, there's like 8 other serpents that we never meet. One of them convinces the people of Ulasil to dig up, they call it unearthing the grave of Primeval Man.
Yeah.
Manus is presumably the Primeval Man. So they dig him up and the abyss spreads from him. Artorias has to go and stop the abyss from spreading. And, of course, he doesn't, but we do. So, but, like, what happens is, it does seem to work, I guess, because it's not there in like, Ulasil falls, but after it falls, it becomes Darkroot Garden. And Darkroot Garden, when we go there in the base game, is not corrupted by the abyss, it's just the ruins of Ulasil. Except in Dark Souls 3, the Darkroot Garden Ulasil area has become corrupted again.
Is that the swamp?
Yeah, Farron would, I mean, it's one of those things like they don't come out and say it, but it's really heavily implied that that's Ulasil. Like, there's Ulasil, Ulasil Falls becomes Darkroot Garden, and then Darkroot Garden in the future becomes Farron.
Oh yeah, because you find those mushrooms there, and like
and there's like Dusk Set is there as well.
Or, yeah.
There's a great sword to remind you of Artorias.
Yeah.
When Artorias isn't on screen, the other character should be asking, "Where's Artorias?"
Yeah, but like, I just don't get it. What does the abyss look like?
It looks like goo.
So it's not a hole or a spreading fog, it's goo.
Well, it says that the early arms of man were forged in the abyss, right? Which suggests it's a place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It could be like you could be in a room, right? Whatever, any room. Right. And then it's filled with whatever, goo or fog or whatever, that's the abyss. So it could be like a sauna, like an abyss sauna.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
And then you take the little bush and you whip yourself with it.
Yeah.
Which is what Ariandel was doing in the trailer.
Did that have anything to... Oh, it did, didn't it? I was going to say, is that anything to do with the abyss? I'm like, yeah, it was.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah, because, like, Frida's Black Flame is from the abyss, and the, like, got the mural of the serpents, and just,
Yeah, but that's because she's from Londor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But she still has, like, abyss stuff. So I don't know if that has any relevance. Yeah, because she's from
Londor and she keeps
but is that relevant to Ariandel?
No.
Okay.
You take my word for it, because I'm a professional.
I'm happy with that.
Okay, good.
Like, we were just saying to Aegon that, like, I was saying when Dark Souls 3 came out, this really doesn't make any sense at all. And now that we have all the data mine shit from Dark Souls 3, it is obvious that it was just like mostly improvised, like as a story from just stuff that was left over. So like, I think you just have to say the people who made this don't know what it's about. No, but like that's true. Like,
But no,
what
I
I'm
don't
saying
know.
is you're not going to be able to find anything by looking.
No, but even if you just look in Dark Souls 1. Like, if you just look in Dark Souls 1, what is the abyss? Is it a giant hole? Is it a hole that leads to a bigger hole? Is it a spreading thing? Is it, I don't know.
No,
Like,
it's
if,
like it's a spreading kind of corruption.
okay, what does it look like?
It looks like blue goo. I'm there right now.
So then the hole that the Four Kings live in is not the abyss.
No, oh god, the hole the Four Kings live in is the abyss. Like the bonfire there is literally called Abyss.
Yeah, I know, but now you're saying
Yeah.
it's goo.
I think the goo spreads and then the goo makes the hole.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like acid, like alien blood.
Yeah, that's a good analogy actually. Yeah, it's like acid. Like it just eats away at things.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah, I like that.
There we go.
I'm happy.
Good.
And okay, and it's spread from madness. So just like in Alien, like if you cut an alien, the acid comes out, right? And it like burns up your ship.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, okay. You were right all along when you made that thing about the Garden of Eyes being a xenomorph.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, but you were right, but it was Manus.
I was right for everything. I was right for Garden of Ice too because Sana DSK found the little screaming eggs. Remember?
Yeah,
That's
I don't know
literally
if they're
Alien.
related. That's true. Okay.
Alien. Do you not remember the eggs in Alien?
Yes.
There we go. Oh, that's cool. I'm happy I can sleep again.
Oh fuck, we didn't talk about Dark Souls 2.
We don't talk about Dark Souls 2. It's non-canon.
Well, you made me talk about Dark Souls 3.
Okay, fine. Tell us about Dark Souls 2.
Dark Souls 2 has an area called Dark Chasm of Old, which seems to be like that might be the Abyss.
Was it created by Goo?
Well, the thing is, right, the Dark Chasm of Old it's like a humanity themed area. You need to use human. There's a covenant called the Pilgrims of the Dark, right? Humanity equals dark in the Dark Souls universe.
Okay, yeah.
And the way that you get into the chasm is that you use human effigies, which are the equivalent of humanity in Dark Souls 2. And it opens up this area that looks a lot like the chasm of the Abyss in Dark Souls 1. So it seems like that might also be the Abyss. And they keep talking about dark, and there's like a wizard guy called Dark Diver Gandalf who's like, yeah, this is what we're seeking. We're seeking what's in the dark, and you get what were abyss themed sorceries as a result of doing it.
So how does that relate to the acid theory?
Well, I don't really know because the acid theory was created by you like 3 minutes ago.
And it made me very happy, but there you go again, ruining my hopes and dreams.
Well, the thing is, I think the games are kind of inconsistent about what the Abyss is and how it works.
Why?
Because they're made by like 3 different people at this point. No, 4.
Or? Oh.
Because you've got like Miyazaki is Dark Souls. Then you've got Tanemura is Dark Souls 2, but he is rewriting Shibuya. So that's already 3 people are involved at this point. And then by the time 3 comes around, you have Okano involved. Sorry, my headphones fell out. And then by the time 3 rolls around, you have Okano involved.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and and Miyazaki crucially is not involved in 2 really at all. So like it's just different. Like I talked about this with Jeremy, because Jeremy is like a big comic book guy, and you have things like X-Men that have been running for like 50 years. And as a result of that, like, it's been passed from writer to writer and like over and over and over again. So like trying to come up with any kind of consistent explanation for like everything is just like a recipe for madness. It's like not possible. Because it's just been passed from person to person to person to person, and they all have slightly different ideas of what things are. So like, yeah, you're not going to be able to have like a consistent sort of like, here's the canonical explanation of everything, because it's going to change from depending on who's writing it.
Okay.
Like, one of the things I brought up to him is like, you know, those like, you probably haven't read them, but they're always made fun of, these like really, really weird old Batman and Superman strips, where it's like Superman's got super like newspaper editing powers or something bizarre like that.
I have no idea, but go on.
Yeah, just all this like really weird shit happened basically in old comic books, because they didn't want to have they didn't want it to be too violent. So it would just be like Superman meets a mermaid or something like that just makes no sense. And what happened was, there's a writer called Grant Morrison I think it was Warren Ellis. It was either Warren Ellis or Grant Morrison, wrote a Batman comic that tried to make all those canon by saying they were a hallucination. And that Batman had locked himself in a coffin and tried to like send himself insane as part of some weird ritual thing. And all of those weird comics that were written in the 50s. And like they're actually a dream he had.
That's pretty smart.
But like this is sort of the level you have to go to reconcile something that's been passed from author to author, because it's not going to like work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, John is asking, why does the Abyss corrupt?
It's too much humanity. But like the question is it really corruption, or is it like it's corruption from the point of view of the Dark Souls world, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily like wrong.
Yeah, Jeremy was saying the same thing, where I said, well, Artorias is like corrupted by the Abyss.
Because Karth's whole thing is like, we will
Are you
unleash
going to
the
let
true
me
form
finish,
of
sir?
man. Yeah, go ahead,
Thank you.
milady.
Aegon was saying that I was like, Abyss is bad, and he's like, not necessarily. And then I'm like, well, look at what Abyss did to Artorias, and he's like, well, Artorias is like a god or whatever, and we're human, and so he gets corrupted, and so it's not necessarily bad to everyone, and I don't know.
Well, no, the people in Ulasil are human, and they end up turning into these weird. They look like a gibbon with a spider.
That's what I should have said. Damn it, I didn't think about that. But then again, he would have been like, yeah, but that's because the Abyss is in excess there. So maybe.
Well, the thing is, like, Karth's whole deal is,
yeah,
I'm going to let the Abyss run rampant, and that will lead to, like, it's like speeding up this thing. We've got to find the new Dark Lord. Because the holder of the fourth Lord, like, there's no holder of the fourth Lord's soul. It was just passed on to humans.
Yeah, but how is the Abyss thing, how is it going to speed up the process of finding the... Yeah, no, but, like, if it corrupts everyone, you're not going to find out yourself.
No, what I mean is, like, it's corrupt from our point of view. But maybe, like, something like Manus is, like, that's what Karth wants.
Oh, so he wanted Manus to be the Dark Lord?
Well, Manus seems to be the closest thing to the Dark Lord. Manus and then Gale, but we don't talk about him.
Oh.
Because the whole point is, like, you've got Gwyn, Nito, Witch, and... Yeah, Gwyn, Nito, and Witch. There's no fourth one. So what Karth's trying to do is basically make the fourth one.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way.
So, like,
Oh.
yeah, you might end up corrupted as, like, a giant monster thing. But, you know, like, Nito is a giant monster thing. And he is a god. So it's not necessarily, like, a bad thing. Like, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, this is kind of in Blood-Borne as well, where, like, okay, you take on, like, the Eldritch Truth and the Eldritch Wisdom, and you might turn into a squid or a little alien person or a spider, but that's not, like, it's not normal, but it's not like that's the outcome they wanted.
Yeah.
Like, turning into a brainsucker or a celestial or a Garden of Eyes in Blood-Borne is, like, it's on the path to achieving what they wanted. And then, like, the success in Blood-Borne is that you turn into a squid thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like, it's corrupt, but, you know, there's other reference, like, Aldia talks about, like, humans assumed a fleeting form, that, like, humans as we know them might not be the true, like, quote-unquote true form of, like, I don't know.
Well, that kind of ties into another question John has. If humans are of the abyss, why does it corrupt them? And what is a human's normal form?
Well, we don't know. This is the whole thing. Like, it never really goes anywhere.
Okay.
But the implication of what Karth is saying is that, like, the true form of humans is something that can challenge Gwyn and become, like, the new god of this world.
Yeah.
And that is, like, maybe what we're talking about as being corrupted and everything is not it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's, you know, it's like in Blood-Borne, you know, on the way to becoming a great one, you know, some people turn into slugs and spiders and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. How is the abyss connected to the flame?
Well, the flame burns away the abyss. Like, they're
How do
opposites.
you know?
Because it says it literally says so in Dark Souls 3.
Huh.
But
Because Aegon read a dialogue from Dark Souls 2 where it's like, the bigger the flame, the bigger the shadow or whatever.
oh yeah, that's Aldia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
that
but the
seems to
idea,
be the
right?
opposite
No.
of what you're saying.
Here's the thing. The four Lord Souls, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are the cause of the disparity between light and dark. They are the cause of the disparity, right? They'd say, like, with the flame led to, I can't remember the exact lines, like, and with fire came disparity, and there's, like, heat and cold, life and death, and that.
Yeah, light and dark.
Yeah, right. So there's four Lord Souls, which are the original disparity. So you've got Gwyn's soul, which is the light soul, right? He's the Lord of Sunlight. His opposite would be the Dark Soul. That's why he's so frightened of it.
Gwyn ain't frightened of anyone.
I think you'll find he is fucking terrified.
No, he's just trying to do what's good for everyone.
I'll have to disagree with you there.
Well, listen, this is not a podcast about Gwyn yet.
So the idea is right. Gwyn is frightened of humans because humans, like, Gwyn's opposite is humans, because instead of one like god figure taking the dark soul and saying, instead of one god figure taking the dark soul and becoming the opposite of Gwyn, what happened was the dark soul was passed on to all of the humans. So kind of all of the humans are a threat to Gwyn.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there's the four souls, right? Which of Izalith and Nito seem to be opposites because one is like life and one is like death. Because Nito is death, and then you look at the witch, and there's like all these things being born. There's these like trees growing and things. So she seems to be like the life to Nito's death, and then we are the dark to Gwyn's light. What they in Dark Souls 3 makes it very explicit that what is going on is that fire burns away the dark soul. And the whole concept of the dark sign is that, like, it is a seal that is put on humans after they become undead to stop the dark soul from escaping.
Okay.
Right. So flame does burn away the abyss.
Okay. So
And that's why, like, the follower torch in the Ashes of Ariandel, it's explicitly like, yeah, this... What happens is people get too much humanity in them, so this torch is used to burn it out. Like, it's very explicit.
Like it burns the pus of men or something?
Yeah, and then you have, like, the evangelists are burning people because they are trying to get rid of the...
Yes, I know,
humanity.
Richard. We
Yeah.
all saw the Bastard's Curse.
I wish no one had seen it.
So if you make like a Molotov cocktail using the first flame and then throw it into the abyss where the four kings reside, you'll
Yeah.
like burn it away?
That's one way you could do it, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Cool.
They wouldn't work, no.
What? No, why?
Where is the first flame now? I don't know. Isn't it in the kiln?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they would destroy each other because they're opposites.
But you just said that the flame burns the abyss.
Yeah, but it would be burned up in the process of doing it. It would be like that. That's why Gwyn is frightened, because like this is the opposite.
But
Like
if there's a lot of flame and not a lot of abyss, the flame can burn it all out and still remain. No, I got it, Richard. Okay. What if I make Molotov cocktails using the profane flame and throw it into the abyss where the four kings reside? What do you think?
I think that's as sensible as anything else involving the profane flame.
Because it doesn't go out. So I found a way to beat the abyss.
Yeah, you did.
I did. I'm very proud of myself right now.
Yeah.
I feel like Gwyn would be proud. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame that we killed him.
You killed him. I never killed him.
That's true. You have never beaten Dark Souls.
So I have literally never killed Gwyn. Okay. So, well, we kind of answered that question already about...
I killed Gwyn and then reloaded my data so he came back to life again.
Aw, yay! Gwyn is like Lennon. He lived, he lives, and he will always live.
I'm kind of disappointed they didn't do a preserved Gwyn corpse at any point.
Why?
Well, like Lennon. Like, you know, like Gwyn's body, like on, like, just lying there.
But they couldn't do it because then there would be a lineup to see it. We actually, when I was little, my mom took me to see Lennon.
Yeah, that's good.
All I remember, there was like a hour's worth of lineup, and then you just go in, and there's a dead guy in a glass coffin, and then you leave.
Yeah.
It wasn't very exciting.
Yeah, well, he's looking good for about 140 something at this point. I wish they'd done that with Superman in Justice League. Because what happens, right, is that... Have you seen Justice League?
It wasn't very good, so I kind of dozed in and out.
Yeah, I don't blame you. what happens is they have to dig up Superman's body like just from the ground.
Okay.
And the thing is, there's also a giant Superman memorial in the middle of the city.
Okay.
And I was thinking, like, wouldn't it have been more dramatic if they'd like had Superman's body in a glass case, like Lennon, and then him coming back to life would have been him bursting out of it.
Like in The Simpsons?
Yeah, instead of this bullshit about having to go to like literally rob a grave.
Yeah, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Okay, so where were we? Oh, Ali. Oh, and we're doing a podcast with Ali next week on
Oh,
a
good.
Saturday morning. My
Yeah?
Saturday morning. I have to remember. I'll have to double
Okay.
check the time. Which is your something evening.
Friday, it'd be Sunday night.
Sunday? Saturday.
Oh no, it'd be
night.
Saturday night. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Ali asks, what would it mean to have the Abyss take control or consume the world?
It would look like Ulasil or New Londo.
So that's not necessarily a good thing because everybody gets all messed up.
Yeah, but like maybe that is the true form of human beings.
I don't think so.
Well, this extremely trustworthy giant snake says otherwise. I, for one, believe him.
Okay. Nick is asking, who is the mother of the Abyss?
Filianor.
Awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the deep. Punning Bronies would like to hear about the deep. So could you tell us what the deep is?
Haven't we gone through the deep before on this? Okay, the deep is depending on what version of Dark Souls 3 you're playing. The deep is either a hole in the ground with some water in it, and it was like
the
a
Aldrich podcast.
Yeah, and also like an hour ago with Aegon.
Wait, did you guys talk about the deep?
Yeah, we brought it up like it was like the first thing we said.
Okay, Richard, it's Friday and it's night. I don't remember what happened an hour ago.
Okay. Right. So in Dark Souls 3 non the Fire Fades edition, the abyss, the deep is like it's this watery like cave question mark, maybe like an underground lake or something.
Mm-hmm.
That is connected to the Cathedral of the Deep, and the people in the Cathedral of the Deep worship it. And then, presumably because Aldrich is gross
Mm-hmm.
and is eating people,
Mm-hmm.
it ends up all corrupted. And then because the Deep becomes corrupted, the people who worship the Deep become corrupted, and you end up with the Deacons of the Deep.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
That hangs together. No,
Yeah.
that's not what's happening anymore. Sorry, it's DLC time. Gale is here to ruin everything.
Or to improve it.
No, nothing has ever been improved with the addition of Gale. So Slave Knight Gale, my third least favorite character from Dark Souls 3. There's some very stiff competition there. What happens there is that in the Dreg Heap, there are these enemies called Mercmen. They kind of look like skeletons, and it says that they rise up out of the deep. And when they appear, they do literally rise up out of the deep. There's like this sort of like weird goop stuff, and then they sort of clamber out of it. Mm-hmm. And if you look up at them, they are covered in like barnacles, and they're like dripping wet. So it looks like the deep, and then it talks about the deep as like it's just everywhere now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's they can't seem to decide. Because according to that, like the deep is just always under the ground. It's like a layer of the earth.
Right.
There's just like the surface and then like the deep is underneath that. Doesn't matter where you are. Which kind of contradicts what you're shown in the cathedral, where the deep is just like a specific thing. So, who knows?
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
I don't think it's very awesome. I really feel like, and like we know now that they kind of made up a lot of this very, very late in the day, so it doesn't really make a great deal of sense. And like, the thing is, like, if you can come up with ideas about why things are the way they are, but you will not be able to find them by looking. Like, they're not in there. So, like, I'm sure we can come up with, like, a fanfic explanation of how this all fits together and it's all fine, but it's not going to be achieved by, like, looking very closely at those games. That's just not in there.
Oh. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, how is the deep connected to the first flame?
I don't think it is.
How is the deep connected to Aldrich?
Aldrich is, like, he's called Saint of the Deep. Yeah. So he's like he was presumably the head cleric of the Cathedral of the Deep. That's how it connected. Like, he was... He may have been why the Deep got corrupted in the first place.
Oh, and we have a whole Aldrich podcast, and you have a whole
45-minute.
Yeah. So yeah,
mess.
if you're interested in Aldrich and the Deep, you should check out Richard's video on his channel.
There's also Aegon and Casetive and I did one of Aegon's Let's Talk Lore videos, which is just about the Deep. It's just about the Cathedral of the Deep.
Perfect. So check out like that too.
So yeah, that's pre-DLC as well.
Mm-hmm. The one we did, was it post DLC stuff in it?
Yeah, we everything we've done has been post DLC.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Because the DLC was a year ago.
Yeah, for sure. Well, not everything we've done is post DLC. Sometimes we specifically talk about pre DLC stuff, like with the doll. Yeah. So basically, if you're interested in Eldridge and the Deep, check out Aegon's channel, check out Richard's channel, and check out the Eldridge podcast we did on this channel. All right. What is the connection between the Deep and the Abyss?
I don't know.
Try again.
I don't know.
One more time.
A lot of people thought that the Deep was like the corrupted abyss or something. And people were even saying, oh yeah, it's a mistranslation. It was supposed to say abyss. But like, it wasn't and it isn't. I don't know what the connection is at all.
But they both have some... Like, Aegon was talking about it, but I don't remember already what it was. They both have, like, dark elements.
Yeah, but a lot of things do.
Huh.
I don't know. Like, for everything that makes it look like they're connected, there's something that makes it seem like they're completely distinct.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why they would have come up with something called the Deep when they could have just used the Abyss. Like, they're distinct things, but they're also very similar.
Okay.
It seems to be basically the Deep is, and like I'm going off like pre-DLC stuff here because I mean who knows, but it seems like the reason the Abyss is, oh god, sorry, the reason that the Deep is the way it is because it's full of human dregs. Because it says human dregs are the heaviest part of the body and they sink down very, very deep into the earth.
Mm-hmm.
And like you have McDonnell in Irithyll is hanging around the reservoir. And it specifically says like McDonnell loves the reservoir because all the water there is stagnant and isn't moving.
I think Kagan kept calling him McCloy.
Did he?
But it's McDonald, yeah.
What a casual. So in Japanese, right, which we've established with Loki, it's written in Japanese first. Everyone, shut up. The human dregs are just called human stagnation.
Yeah.
So the idea is like it's the heavy, like polluted, corrupt parts of humans are human dregs. And they sink down, and that's what the deep is. And that's why McDonnell is in love with the stagnant water in the reservoir.
The drags, you give it to McDonald, right?
Yeah.
What does he do with them? Does he eat them?
Well, he's dead.
Well, maybe he's just napping.
Okay, so...
If he was dead, how would he take them from you?
I don't know, because it doesn't make fucking sense.
So he's not dead. He's just chilling. Can you let a person chill?
Well, he doesn't look well.
He's fine. He just hasn't seen the sun in a few years, you know?
Okay, so the difference is, right, the Abyss is like humanity. It's humanity gone wild. The Deep is humanity gone stagnant. That's the difference.
No, the Deep is not humanity gone stagnant, because the Deep was, like, normal, and then the stagnant humanity made it bad.
Yeah, that's what it is, yeah. But, like, that's why the Deep is significant, because it's full of stagnant humanity.
Is it though? Maybe it's significant because like Aldrich dreamed of it or whatever, right? Maybe it was supposed to be the new awesome age, but then Aldrich ruined it by throwing drags in the Deep.
I don't like Dark Souls 3. I was listening to Watch Out for Fireballs, the podcast last night. They were talking about Bayonetta. Uh-huh. And one of them said, like, this reminds me a lot of that Dark Souls 3 boss. And then someone else said, what, boredom?
Oh.
So it's not just us, okay?
That's a sick burn. Okay, let's move on to the next question. And that's from Signal Tone. Okay. Signal Ton Salad says...
Oh, yeah, I recognize that name, yeah.
In the Ringed City DLC, Mercmen pop up from the deep. Do you think the fire fading increases the deep's presence or influence, similar to the Abyss, or is the massive deformation of the world seen in the drag heap moving the... Oh, God damn it, I can't read.
You know, this is the question Aegon mentioned.
Yeah. This is the question Aegon mentioned. Oh, you guys answered it already. Okay, bye. Thank you.
No. He mentioned the question to me. We didn't answer it.
Okay, let me read it again. In the Ringed City DLC, Mercmen pop up from the deep. Do you think the fire fading increases the deep's presence / influence, similar to the Abyss? Or is the massive deformation of the world seen in the drag heap moving the deep to the surface almost as if it was a layer of soil?
I think it's that with the fire fading, the deep is spreading.
Where do you get that?
Because the whole point about the Ringed City is that the fire is fading away, so the Ringed City is like... The Ringed City is where it is because the Age of Fire is ending. Like, they're open about that.
Really?
Yeah, they say at the close of the Age of Fire, the Ringed City is said to be at World's End.
Okay.
So what happens is... The Ringed City is... The Ringed City is like... It's the last thing that the fire is sealed off, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, Gwyn... Oh fuck! I hate Dark Souls 3. Okay, the the dark sign that brands the undead is a literal ring of fire,
Mm-hmm.
and it is there so that when the humanity starts escaping from the undead bodies, the dark sign burns it away
Okay.
because the fire burns away humanity. The
Okay.
ringed city is that, like, to the power of 1,000,000,000, in that it is a whole city where the dark soul is, and there is a gigantic dark sign around it.
Okay.
Because the fire is fading away, the seal around the ringed city and the seal of fire on the undead is fading as well. That's why you start seeing, like, the pus of man monsters. Because now that the Age of Fire is ending, there is nothing to stop. Like, no, it's not nothing to stop it, but it is
Weaker,
like
I guess.
it's weak. It's much much weaker.
Okay.
Because of that, the because of that, when the seal around the ringed city starts to fade, that's why we go there at that point in time. Because prior to that, the Age of Fire hadn't faded away, so the seal around the ringed city was still there. Now it is weaker, so we can go there. Okay, so because, like, everything is weakening and falling apart, it would make sense that the abyss, no, oh god, it would kind of make sense that the deep was spreading, because the deep is, like, burned up shitty bits of humanity. So if there's nothing, it's the same stuff, so if there's nothing to keep that in check, then it would make sense that it spreads. But the thing is, like, the whole Merkmen issue, they almost feel like they're completely different things with the same name.
But like you keep saying that the deep is the dregs of humanity, but like I don't I feel like it's not. Yeah,
Why
there's
do
the
you feel
deep.
like it's not?
Okay, because like there's the deep, right? And then
Right.
like somebody throws the dregs of humanity in it, so it's just the
Yeah.
deep with a bunch of dregs, but it doesn't mean the deep is the
No, but
dregs.
that the deep has become the dregs.
Really?
Yeah, because all the stuff got polluted, now that it's just spreading.
Okay.
It's like New Londo used to be a city.
Yeah, it's still a
Then the
city.
abyss, but the abyss is spreading from New Londo. Had to be sealed off. Like Ula Seal, it's
But
spreading from Ula Seal. So if you dump it all in the deep becomes that thing and starts spreading.
hmm. Okay, but I feel like the abyss can be like airborne, but the dregs, if they're in the deep, they would need the deep to spread.
Can we just take a step back for a second?
Yeah.
Why is the abyss airborne?
I don't know. It just spreads. Like how else is it gonna spread?
But doesn't it spreads through the ground? That's why it's like underground in a chasm.
Well, first you said it's goo.
Yeah. Then you said it was acid.
Yeah,
So
but
it's like acid goo.
that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot that it's acid now.
If it's just a problem if you have so many ideas you forget them.
Yeah, exactly.
We need to get you that Curse of High IQ book.
Well, I have the visual that I can't get rid of where the abyss is kind of like a fog and it spreads and keeps spreading and keeps
Yeah,
spreading.
but like that's a visual from your imagination. It's not in the game.
Well, you know how Neolando is dark. I kind of thought that
is.
maybe there was a little bit of the abyss in the air. That's why it's so dark.
No, the abyss is underground.
Yeah, but if there's a
Shouldn't
little
you
bit
know
of
this because you were stuck on the Four Kings for like 4 years or something?
But like, because okay, if you say the abyss spreads, to me it's like it needs to spread through air. How else is it gonna spread?
No, but I was saying, like, if you imagine like it's collapsing. Like you start off with a little abyss hole and then just the ground keeps collapsing around it. Like it spreads that way.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Just imagining you as a character in Dark Souls. The like Carth is trying to manipulate. You're like, well, what if it was airborne though? That's how I feel. You must spread the dark. Yeah, well, I thought it would be airborne. This is how I imagine it.
It's like he sends me to spread the dark, and I come back, and he's like, "You didn't do it. You did it wrong again."
Well, I felt that it would be better if it was airborne. Feeble human.
He's like, "Get out of here." I'm like, "No, I want to help you."
I only like you because you feed Framt poop. And Framt is like, "Can I please have some chips?" No. I feel like you should eat this poop, Framt. Framt looks like poop in the remaster. They do something with the lighting, and he is like this weird greenish brown color.
Oh.
He looks like a turd.
Well, you are what you eat.
Oh, exactly.
Okay. As we were saying.
I have an instinctive understanding of the Abyss.
Are you sure the Abyss is not airborne, though? Wait, okay, Richard, if the Abyss is a little hole that gets bigger, how did those people in Ulasil get deformed? You don't get deformed from a hole.
No.
You get deformed from an airborne virus.
What, it's a virus now?
It's a virus now, yes. It's always...
We in Resident Evil.
Yes. It's always... That's what... It's a fog, and it's also an airborne virus. How... Well, explain to me how a hole contaminates people, then.
Because it's the stuff in the hole.
There we go! That's what I'm saying! The stuff in the hole is airborne, clearly.
But it's in a hole. It's slime.
Well, did they eat slime?
No, they're next to it. It's like if you were in like an irradiated area, like you would get stuff like from the.
Oh, so it's radiation now?
I said it's like if you were. I didn't say it was.
Well, it would actually kind of make sense if it's some sort of abyss radiation. Like you stand next to it and you mutate or whatever.
Yeah, it's like that.
That okay. You know what?
Okay, look, there is a giant blob of humanity ? Probably humanity. That like is so powerful that it makes the things around it start disintegrating and warping. So you have a giant blob of humanity underground, and then the area around it that is being warped and transformed by the humanity blob is the Abyss.
How does the hole come in?
Because everything around it is like collapsing and melting. It's like your acid thing. Okay, but then
humans aren't melting; they're transforming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it's not literally like acid; it's just deforming things.
Okay.
Please, is this all? How long is this going to be?
This podcast total recording is 4 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, because I'm on an hour 40.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I just beat Calamate.
I think you should edit this one.
Okay, I'll edit it. It'll be like 3 minutes long.
I wonder what 3 minutes you'll include.
It's just me saying, yep, beat Artorias, beat Manus, beat Calamate. Oh, by the way, that Calamate, first try, thank you.
Well, listen, if I didn't have a life, I'd beat them all really fast, too.
That's true.
Is that bullying? No, no, stating
No.
facts is not bullying.
Yeah, no, it's like libel laws.
It's like what?
It's like you can't sue someone for saying something that's true.
Exactly. There we
Yeah.
go.
So you haven't libeled me at any point.
No.
No.
Okay.
Okay, well I've unlocked everything in the DLC for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Maybe you can talk to the Abyss. Have you tried?
I'll try now.
Okay.
Hi, Abyss. It didn't say anything. They could have added it because the PS4 controllers do have a microphone built into them.
Yeah, they should have. And then the
Yeah.
Abyss tells you all the lore. Okay, we're almost done. Big Izzy asks, is the swamps of the Ringed City related to the same liquid in Aldrich's area?
The liquid in Aldrich's area is Aldrich.
What?
Because he's like a slug blob thing, so he is
Yeah,
like...
but there's water there.
Oh, the water. I thought you meant this like slime. The slime is Aldrich. It's like just bits of him that fell off.
Okay, but that's not the question.
Well, slime is a liquid. It's a viscous liquid, but it's a liquid.
Wait, did you just say slime, like the Abyss? Is Aldrich the Abyss?
Yes.
We're talking about the water liquid.
Dark Souls 3 is like a Cards Against Humanity game, basically. Where you just have, like, Aldrich is the Abyss. The Dark Soul is paint.
Oh. So, that water...
The final boss is Gale.
Oh, sick burn. So the swamps in the Ringed City, are they related to the liquid or the water in Aldrich's arena?
The swamps in the Ringed City are the Abyss, aren't they? Because isn't the whole
Are you
point of
kidding me
everything-
right now?
No, I'm not.
It's the deep. No?
The game cannot decide what is the Abyss and what is the Deep. And I think the addition of them was bad.
Okay. Well, if it was the Abyss, there would be bigger holes, right?
But like, if you look over to the side, in the Ringed City, like huge chunks of it have just fallen off. You're just like in the upper part, and that's mostly gone now.
And you think that's because of the goo?
As everything collapses, it turns into goo.
Wait, what?
You know your acid thing? Go. Oh fuck.
I can't tell if you're joking or not.
No. Go. You know your acid thing, right?
Yeah.
As the hole gets bigger because of the acid,
Yeah.
there is more acid being produced, so everything is kind of melting.
No.
Imagine how I feel. Like, it's nonsense. It's just drivel.
I think it's nonsense because you just don't understand the game.
Don't get me fucking started. The thing is, right, Dark Souls 2, to a lesser extent, Demon Souls and Blood-Borne, right? Not that complicated. They appeared complicated because they used a certain kind of storytelling that required you to look at things in a certain way. Right.
Yeah.
But not actually that complicated. And a lot of people are like, no, it just doesn't make sense. It's all up to interpretation, even though it will just, like, literally say something. Like, you just line up some item descriptions, that's the story. Like, that's not... The problem is, and then people go, oh, well, you know, anything's possible. It could be anything. Because it really, like, it's just ideas. And then the problem is Dark Souls 3 came out, and it literally doesn't make sense. So we're now stuck with, like... Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Richard. So, can you quickly tell us about the significance of bodies of water in Blood-Borne in 140 characters or less, please?
Is that a real question, or are you trolling me?
That's a question I came up with.
Okay, the significance of bodies of water in Blood-Borne is quite consistent, unlike Dark Souls. The idea is in Blood-Borne that water is like it represents the barrier between worlds. So if you can cross through, the same thing is true of mirrors. If you can cross through the barrier, you will end up somewhere else. So that's why Kos appears in the ocean, because she has crossed over from the Dreamlands to the real world. It's why you fight Rom after you jump into a lake. It's why Mikolash can jump through mirrors. And it's why after you beat Rom, you wake up in a basin of water in Yahogol, because you've been crossing the boundary using the water. It's also why the shortcut in Yahogol is that you use the basins in Yahogol to warp from basin to basin, because as you touch the water, you permeate the surface and then you arrive somewhere else. It's also why the messengers appear out of a bird bath, because it's it's water, so the messengers are able to come out of the water of the bath. And when you find messengers in the game, they're always coming out of this kind of grey goop. So the idea is this liquid water is what allows you to transport from place to place. And
Awesome.
it does that because
Mm-hmm.
if you can reflect things in it. This is it's an old Japanese sort of folklore mysticism thing where if you can reflect the moon or something in water, it's almost like the moon is on the other side of the lake. If you imagine a lake with a moon and reflected in it, it's almost like, well, I could jump in the lake and go to the moon, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
There's another world on the other side of the reflection.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why that's how bodies of water work in Blood-Borne. And
Awesome.
it's why all the runes that make you harder to hit are called lake or sea. Because the idea is you're doing something to the water is acting as the barrier. So if you use this is the making the sea stronger or making the lake stronger, you're affecting how things can touch you. See how simple and consistent that answer is in comparison to well, the deep is a lake and it's also everywhere and it's also the abyss and it's Aldrich might leave it as a trail when he moves around and so yeah, I can't wait for Blood-Borne 2 to ruin all of this.
Okay. Well, Ultra Alex has a question.
Okay.
Was that Aldrich?
It was me. I went to the shops while I was waiting for the internet to fix itself, and I bought a DVD of one of the Air Bud movies.
Aww. Cute. Okay. Ultra Alex asks, is the deep that significant, or is it something tacked on to be a tribute to Blood-Borne?
I don't think it's supposed to be a tribute to Blood-Borne, really. I think the idea for the deep may have changed significantly because, like I was saying, it seemed firstly we know from the data mining that pretty much the whole Aldrich and Sullivan thing was a last-minute addition. There was always a character called Aldrich, Saint of the Deep. There was always a Cathedral of the Deep, but the idea that he would be the one who devoured Gwyndolin, and that he would ruminate on this sort of oncoming age of the deep sea, and that he would work with Pontiff Sullivan, that was all that's not there at all in versions that were very, very close to release. It was a very late in late creation. Sullivan himself is a very late creation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the deep was probably always a thing, but it was probably just, like, as we were explaining it, that, it would have just been that underwater, like, not an underground river or lake or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It would have just been that. And then it took on new significance, I think, later on, and they sort of added to it.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Do you think there's such a thing as abyss fried chips?
As Abyss what?
Abyss fried chips.
Well, if you used fire on the Abyss, that would burn it away.
And create chips?
Um,
Maybe.
I don't know. Are there potatoes in Dark Souls?
I
You know the living failures in Blood-Borne?
Yeah.
They're internally called potato. Because
That is
they look like potatoes and they go. It's like the Korean word for potato or something, not literally just potato. But
Aw.
yeah, they look like potatoes.
Oh, my little potatoes.
Yeah.
That is pretty cute. I thought you were gonna say that internally the living failures are called Richard Pilbeams.
I knew you would say that. Your bullying is getting increasingly predictable.
But it's not bullying. It's just
What is it then?
stating facts. You just wait. Lance is gonna find some hidden content, and it's gonna be like Richard Pilbeam, living
I
failures.
don't think From Software know who I am.
They all seen the Bastard's Curse, okay?
But that was made after Blood-Borne. No, they saw it and they were like, we should send this guy a whole lot of like rare stuff and money. And then they listened to me talk about Pontiff Sullivan. The person whose OC he actually was heard it.
Yeah.
The From Software OCs are Pontiff Sullivan and Chikage Yamamura.
Why?
Because we haven't... Have I talked about Chikage Yamamura before?
No.
Okay, you know Old Hunter Yamamura?
Yeah.
There's not much of an explanation for like who he is or what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses a Chikage.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the credits of the game it says special thanks to Chikage Yamamura.
Okay.
So we're not... Redgrave and I were like, who? What? We were like, is he like someone they know? Is he like, is he someone's D&D character that they've like putting in a tribute to? So yeah, apparently there is a real Chikage Yamamura somewhere, and Old Hunter Yamamura is a tribute to him. And then we were like, maybe he's like the guy who makes their sandwiches or something, and they've just like put a tribute to him in there.
That's cute. Hellrider asks, it was the influence of Blood-Borne that brings out the deep in a water statement, or there were other hints in DS1 that Abyss was water-like?
There's hints in Dark Souls 2 that the Abyss is water-like, because the Dark Chasm of the Abyss area is full of water. And the way that you reach it is that you literally jump. Kind of like with ROM. You go into these, like watery sort of portals to get there. But I think the Abyss is always sort of, like, slimy stuff. I don't know if it was watery in Dark Souls 1.
Oh, and then he adds, I remember that in DS1 Artorias' armor says something like corrosive.
Yeah, it's corroded by the Abyss. Sort of as an acid or something. Like,
Oh,
it just sort of
right.
corrodes.
Okay. So Ike says, we know from the Four Kings battle that we fall to the Abyss, and it is a full black environment. Also, New
Yep.
Londo was underwater. In Blood-Borne,
Yep.
we fall to the Abyss of the sea to fight from, and it is full of white environment. I think it's just a coincidence, but what do you think?
I think it's a coincidence.
Okay, good one. Thank you.
Yay.
No, but I see how it could be like, oh, maybe it's like the dark and the abyss, and like, and then Rum
Yeah.
is like light.
Well,
and, like...
oh no, the thing is, like, in Blood-Borne, the reason that everything's white is because you're literally like inside the moon's reflection.
What?
Because the moon is reflected on Moonside Lake.
Yeah.
So when you jump into Moonside Lake, the reason it's like that is because you're kind of inside a reflected moon. Like, you've jumped into the moonlight when you do that. True, that's what you've done.
Really?
Yeah, you jump in. That's why Moonside Lake works the way it does, is because the moonlight is reflected on the surface of the water. So when you jump in, like, the moonlight and the water together are acting as this means of transportation. That's why, like, in Yahagul, there's all those mirrors and everyone goes, like... Part of the reason Yahagul gets so fucked up after the red moon is that all those mirrors and all those baths were reflecting moonlight. So when the red moon happens, like, the effect of the red moon just destroys Yahagul in a way that it doesn't destroy, like, other parts of the city as badly.
Because of the mirror?
Because they're... Yeah, the whole point in Yahagul is they are using the mirrors to reflect the moonlight into, like, the cells and into the people there. Because they're experimenting with the moon. So when the red moon happens, like, the light of the red moon, which has this, like, transforming, warping effect, just, like, goes... It's like a... I don't like a rave of just all this red moonlight. Flies everywhere and kills kind of everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no.
Hang on, if you give me, like, a minute, I'm just gonna run to the,
To the shops?
No, I'm gonna run to the Abyss in New Londo and just see what it kind of looks like.
Oh my god! So, JMH says, 3 of my favorite lorsters together again. Thanks for ruining that moment, Richard.
Well, we were together on Aegon's podcast. You can listen to that.
But yeah, together again. So obviously they heard the other podcast. They were hoping for something substantial now.
Okay, you can listen to Aegon's podcast, but donate to Sinclair's Patreon.
What? No, Richard! They're saying they wanted to hear the 3 of us, you, me, and Aegon, together.
Well, we talked for like 10 minutes at the end of it.
For like 3 minutes, and I didn't even talk because I was so appalled with you being late. I took a nap. I took a mental nap.
Well, he can come back.
Well, I don't know. He has a girlfriend now. He's never going to talk to us again. That's how it works.
Oh shit, I have to do the Painted World.
JMH asks, do the 3 of you have any theories on Dark Souls 2 Dark Lurker?
Oh yeah, okay, Dark Lurker is the boss of the Chasm of the Abyss area. You do 3 Chasm of the Abyss parts and then you can fight Dark Lurker at the end. Dark Lurker is... Yeah, Dark Lurker is something that seems hugely significant but isn't ever paid off. Dark Lurker it's a strange sort of 4-armed angel thing. And you fight it in the Chasm of Old, which we are going to assume is the Abyss. And crucially, for one of its attacks, it creates a gigantic dark sign above its head, which makes it seem like it's really, really significant, but exactly what, I don't quite know. Because they never reference it again and never really pay it off. It's just like, yep.
kind of tuned out there, to be honest. It's like it's midnight 41. Yeah.
It's not as annoying as a lot of things in Dark Souls 3, but it's still like, here's a thing, looks pretty significant, and no, don't worry.
Okay. Did you answer the question?
Yeah, like, the theory is, like, it looks like it's really significant, but they don't ever explain, like, why.
Okay.
We don't know how or why it's significant, it just is significant. And it feels like something that could have been developed and paid off, and for all we know, it's a, it might be a leftover from the early version of Dark Souls 2. And maybe Sanadius K will have dug something up because he's doing that kind of data mining project. Yeah. But it seems really significant. It seems like it should be the final boss, basically. It's like this giant angel thing that creates a huge dark sign in the sky as it fights you. But it's an optional boss with no backstory, and you just get a you get some magic from it. Although I've only done like a full run of Dark Souls 2 once, so there's possibly something I'm missing.
Okay. And last question. Well, we didn't really get to talk about Solaire. Maybe we should have another podcast where you, Aegon, and I talk about Solaire. But okay. Zach asks, will this involve the infamous Solaire soup?
Solaire what?
Soup.
Well, did it involve the Solaire soup?
We were supposed to talk about Solaire if we had time. But we don't. Yeah, so Aegon and I talked about this, and are people saying that the soup is literally Solaire?
People thought Solaire might have been melted down and turned into soup, yes.
Oh, because I thought that what was meant by that is that the Solaire soup means like Solaire comes by and he makes you soup and then he leaves.
That's what I think it was getting at. Because I think the idea is that you find it near the Sunlight Talisman, and you find another one that's near the you find it like near Solaire stuff, basically. And then you find there's like one other time you find it, that's when Sigmire makes it, and he says like, I make Estus soup. But it probably isn't him that's leaving them, because it's Warrior of Sunlight stuff everywhere.
Maybe I thought Solaire was making the soup because you said it.
That was what because the theories were, in Dark Souls 3, Solaire is the sandworm, was one of them. Solaire is the soup. And I was saying it's probably meant to be that because you find it near Warrior of Sunlight, specifically near Solaire stuff, that the game is saying like, what if Solaire is still out there, leaving soup for weary travelers? He was never really gone.
Oh my god! He is worshipping the Snack Covenant.
Oh my god, the Soup Covenant. I think that might be what they're getting at. I don't know though. Because you can get Solaire's armor set, but you get it from the Crow. Pickle P. Yeah.
Is Solaire the Abyss?
Yes. It really is Cards Against Humanity, isn't
it? Yeah.
Solaire is the Abyss.
Solaire is soup. Okay, I think that's all.
Okay, that was 2 hours.
That was 5 hours on my end.
Yeah. Well, it would have been 5 hours if I'd had time, but unfortunately, Microsoft are very concerned about my privacy. Installed a whole lot of updates and then made me answer a whole lot of questions about that basically amounted to like, please give us your data. so we can make things better for you.
Yeah, they're sending these change in privacy policies emails.
Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've all become very concerned, like, all of a sudden.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, coincidentally, you're suddenly concerned with my privacy.
Yeah. And transparency. Privacy
Yes.
and transparency, yeah.
Yes.